Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel. My name is Mike. I'm continuing my Week 10 previews and analysis. This video is for the game between the Atlanta Falcons and the Seattle Seahawks. This game will be played at the Georgia Dome. These two teams met last year in the divisional round of the playoffs in the Georgia Dome, with Atlanta coming out victorious. And, geez, what in a different direction both these teams have gone since. Atlanta at 2-6 this season, and Seattle, in first place in the whole conference in the NFC with a record of 8-1. And Seattle's coming off of a squeak it out kind of win. I think a little bit of a wake up call for them, at home versus Tampa Bay, a game where Tampa Bay played well. But you just saw in the end Seattle sort of wear them down running the football. I liked what I saw from Marshawn Lynch last week. The offensive line play was improved, most notably the interior of that offensive line, led by Max Unger. On the other side for Atlanta, they're coming off of a pretty big loss at Carolina, 34-10. Matt Ryan has 7 interceptions in his last 2 games. The last secondary, combined with a pass rush, you want to face when that's the case in your game after throwing 7 interceptions in your last 2 is this Seattle defense. And I think that's going to pose a serious threat to Matt Ryan. If you look at Seattle's defense, they do let up over 4 yards per carry in the running game, all right, as a defense. But Atlanta's last in the league in running the football. So, I don't think Atlanta will be able to take advantage of that. Also, Seattle has given up a decent amount of sacks as their offensive line is in a state of flux. Their 2 tackles have been out for a considerable amount of time. Max Unger, who I mentioned before, was out with an injury for a period of time. So you can take advantage of the Seattle offensive line if you can rush the passer. I don't think Atlanta's going to, provide that sort of pressure that's needed to sway this game in their favor in that respect. And you look at the fact, again, they're last in the league in rushing. You look at how turnover-prone Matt Ryan has been, and just the matchups of these Seattle defensive backs versus what's left of these Atlanta wide receivers. And the plus-minus way in the favor of Seattle, +6 for Seattle, -7 for Atlanta. So, everything's sort of, pointing towards Seattle. And I think a big thing in this game, guys, is going to be the fact that Seattle is going back to the place where their season ended last year. They're coming off a couple games here where they haven't played their best football. But again, I think they're showing signs. I thought their offensive line played a little bit better last week. I know the game was close. I think their passing game has to improve a little bit. And I really like the attitude I saw from Marshawn Lynch last week and that running game as a whole. And I think that's going to continue into this week. I think their defense is going to play better than they did certainly against Tampa. And I like Seattle with something to prove. I know Atlanta's 2-6, but you have to remember it's a pretty prideful bunch with Seattle. I think they're going to go in there with something to prove, not take Atlanta lightly. And I like Seattle -6 to go on the road and beat Atlanta. Guys, let me know what you think. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter at @SNewsAnalysis. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I preview and recap every game every week, and I always talk the news of the day in the NFL. So be sure to subscribe. Thanks for listening. Have a great night.